It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and I haven't reviewed a Samuel Smith's beer since I went to Newport in South Wales to do that Beers and Bars of Newport back in the summer of 2022. And before that, I haven't reviewed a Samuel Smith's beer in this very bar, or of course the kitchen, for probably the best part of 2 or 3 years. In fact, I can't really remember the last time I reviewed a Samuel Smith's beer. And that makes me feel slightly uncomfortable because I know Samuel Smith's beers are fantastic. I love everything about this brewery, I really do. We'll get into all of that in a moment, but I want to show you this. This is an organic wheat beer, 5% ABV. There's the bottle cap. I picked this up in Cardiff Discount Drinks. They have all of the Samuel Smith's beers. I've not seen this one before though. Not long. I'm not sure how long they've been brewing it. But it's brewed at the old brewery Tadcaster in Yorkshire. It's a 550 milliliter bottle. 550 milliliter. Now let me grab a 500 just to compare, just to show you. Now you can tell that this bottle, even though this bottle's taller, you can tell there's more beer in here. It's a fatter, longer bottle. It's only 50 milliliters. It really isn't that much, but it feels, yeah, this is a proper pint. 500 mils, just shy of a pint. 550 mil, I think it's just over a pint, isn't it? Anyway, let's get the beer out into a glass, see what we get. Loads of smoke on the bottle opening, look at that. I've got a wheat beer glass for this beer. Listen to that glug. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you half a glass of clear, light, slightly golden amber coloured beer here with a 1 finger white head. Good levels of carbonation. Now, if this is a proper wheat beer, really giving this a good mix up, then it should go hazy. There you go, there you go, there you go. Samuel Smith, of course, the brother of John Smith. What a completely different contrast to the brewers. John Smith's produced, well, John Smith's, which I suppose, as we all know, is not the greatest of beer, is it? But Samuel Smith's, they've always held on to the quality. It's always been about the quality of the beer rather than the quantity of the beer. And they always produce really classic styles as well. Wheat beers, porters, stouts, great best bitters, lagers. Whatever they do it in a very solid way. 1 finger white head, nice and hazy, slow moving carbonation. Let's get the aroma on this wheat beer. Definitely looks like a Weiss beer, doesn't it? Oh, yes, yes. Loads of banana coming through. Loads of clove. Spicy, peppery. Oh my goodness me, wow. It's like bacon. It's like a bit of meaty bacon coming through. Fabulous. Let's dive in. I'm excited by this. Cheers, everyone. Wow. Stone the Crows. Stone the Crows. I've only ever had one other British wheat beer, stroke white beer, stroke Hefeweizen, that has tasted anything quite like a German Hefeweizen, and that was from a brewery in North Wales. Top of my head, can't remember the name of the brewery now, but they're like a lager brewery in North Wales that produce a tremendous, an award-winning wheat beer. But this is the second one. This along with that beer from North Wales is probably only the second decent wheat beer I've had from a UK brewer. If you handed me, pardon me, if you handed me this in the pub and he said, here we go, there's a German Weiss beer, I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo. If it was German, if it was British, if it was brewed by Samuel Smith, if it was brewed by someone like Francis Carner, I would sit back and grab it and go, ooh, that's really good. That's really good. What I will say about the beer is it's slightly leaning towards the sweeter sides of being a Weiss beer. It's just leaning, it's almost as if there's a British influence on this wheat beer. And that is that it's slightly sweet. It's sweeter than a German wheat beer. But at the same time, you get loads of the wheat, you get loads of the banana, you get loads of the clove, loads of the spice. Lovely carbonation, pushing that beer around the inside of the mouth. It's a classic German wheat beer from the UK. And that brings me nicely to Samuel Smith's. I have got my own personal fascination with old buildings. I love old buildings. I love the history of old buildings. I like to think that the building I'm standing in here now is about 140 years old. I've only been here, pardon me, I got a cold. I've only been here 22, 23 years of that history. So I've been here a scratch of that history. And the amount of people who have walked through these doors of this house fascinates me, absolutely fascinates me. But can you imagine a brewery that buys old buildings that are interesting, that are in a bit of a dilapidated state, and then pouring maybe £2 million into that building? This is what happened with Samuel Smith in Newport. There was a really historic timber frame building in the middle of Newport that the council wanted to tear down because they thought it was in such a state that it needed to be pulled down and rebuilt. Probably into a nice, another big high-rise block of flats. Samuel Smith, on the other hand, bought the building and they spent something like 1.5 million to £2 million on this timber building. The video's on YouTube. If you want to put in craft beer bars or beers and pubs of Newport, South Wales, you'll see my video. And you'll see me going into the old Murringer, the old pub, the old Murringer in Newport. And you'll see this fantastic old pub. And when you go in there, all the walls are bent, everything's bent on the outside, the building's leaning forward, but I mean, there's a few £1 million been spent on this building, it's perfectly safe. But this is what Samuel Smiths do. I've heard stories all over the UK where they've saved buildings. The other side to this story is they can back it up with their own beer. You can buy a Best Bitter, wheat beers, porters, stouts, an unbelievable range of beer. They do an imperial stout as well. You can buy their lemonade, you can buy their crisps. Wonderful place. Wonderful place, wonderful brewery. And it's one of these that they don't need to advertise. They don't need to... They just go about their business quietly. And I like that as well. Because if you ask 10 people in the street who Samuel Smiths are, especially in the South Wales area, you might get one person, if you're lucky, 2 people out of 10 that know what Samuel Smiths are all about. But that's okay. That's okay, because those little secrets in life can be enjoyed by people like me, and you go into their pub and there's no like blaring music blasting along, and there's no, you know, they got their policies, which, you know, take the kids in there, people don't swear. I kind of like, I don't kind of like, I really like the brewery. I really like the brewery. I really like their beers. I really like their ethos in saving old buildings. Yeah, I'm going to raise a glass to Samuel Smiths. And their wheat beer. This wheat beer is incredible. The malted wheat, barley and hops used to brew this beer have been organically grown without the use of chemical sprays or artificial fertilizers. Fantastic. It really is fantastic. I love it. Wheat beer has always been known as the elixir or tonic, especially when unfiltered with the brewer's yeast still in the bottle. Organic wheat beer is golden, fruity. The naturally occurring fruit esters from the yeast give prominent citrus and banana flavours and thirst quenching. Served chilled at 44 Fahrenheit, 7 degrees, with an optional slice of lemon. 5% ABV. Amazing beer, amazing beer. I'm going to rate that. That's up there with some of the best German wheat beers in the world. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. I hope you liked the video. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers.